Hi guys, Exeter Rider, hope you're doing well. So this week it's all about this bike here. It is the Honda CBR650R. Now in this video I'm going to be taking you through all sorts of different environments like this one here now, and I'll also be taking you through town, on the motorway, and just hopefully seeing what the bike is like to live with. I'm sure you'll agree it's a lovely looking bike, that's for sure, so that's always a good start, isn't it? So enjoy the review and let's get right into it. Now this CBR650R is new for 2024 and it does come with the electronic clutch. Now if you don't know what that is, I will be explaining that fully later on in the review, or certainly the bits that you need to know anyway. That's the most important bits of it, so I will be going through that. Now what a lot of people are going to be thinking is, was it like a DCT, like a dual clutch transmission that Honda do? And it's not. It's a total different option. They've, you know, just when you think that they've thought of everything, they thought of this idea, and I think it's fantastic. Get past these into safety. So yeah, it's got loads and loads of power, as you can imagine. It is a sports bike, it's set up as a sports bike. You've got the mirrors in front of me there, I'm over the tank, and yeah, it's quite a comfortable place to be, I would say, all things considered. Obviously there is a lot of weight on my wrists, so there's that to take into account. But yeah, it certainly moves if you need it to. Wait for these cars to go past. Off we go. So it is certainly a rocket ship, and it all seems to happen about 6,500 onwards on this bike. It's a very quick machine, as you'd expect. We have the Honda Smart Sync on this bike as well, so you can connect up your Bluetooth devices to the dashboard down there. The seat's really nice. Obviously there isn't a huge amount of weight compared to an adventure bike sat on the seat. I'm actually over the bars a bit here. It is very compliant, and the fuel injection just works lovely on it. No issues there. And yeah, I mean, as I say, overall it is just a really well set up sports bike. Now, I'm not going to be able to go into the sports bike riding side of things like many others can, because that's just not me. But I'm coming from a place where a lot of you will be, where you're not sports bike riders either, and maybe you're just moving up from a bike into a, you know, into a new setup, or maybe you've had an adventure bike or an A2 bike and then moving up onto this one. Or like somebody I know who owns a CBR500R should I say, he wants one of these. I'm hoping to have a chat with him, but typical, when I've got the bike he's on holiday, so I'll see if I can sort that out. But yeah, so it's a good step up to this bike. Suspension, we need to talk about that. Again, it's set up for the track, of course. It's non-adjustable on the front, but it is adjustable on the rear. And in all honesty, I don't think it needs to be adjustable. I think they've set it up quite nicely from factory. You know, it just flicks into the corners nicely. It's just got all those Honda sports bike racing sort of characteristics, all in this 650 package. Now, is it the sort of bike that eggs you on? Well, for me, yes, definitely. I definitely want to keep on dropping it down a few cogs and reaching up the higher RPMs, really, because that's where all the fun is on these 4-cylinder bikes. With that being said, after a while, you know, you have to tame yourself a little bit and just realise that you are on the road and you're not on the track. So you've got to be careful of that and be mindful as well. But yeah, very nice bike to ride, and very enjoyable. Would you tour on it? You can do. Honda do sell a touring pack with this as well, where you can get the side luggage and the top box of, you know, or should I say a soft bag on top near the at the back end there. So yeah, you can tour on any bike, can't you? It just depends how much you can get used to having weight on your wrists here. I think that's going to be its Achilles heel. Let's talk a little bit about traffic riding, I suppose. So overall, the electronic clutch again looks after all the messing around with clutching in and out. You know, brakes are all good. It's a good looking bike, so people do tend to stop and stare sometimes, certainly pedestrians kind of look at you as though, what's that? And yeah, I mean, it's just alright. It's just what you'd expect a sports bike to be like in traffic. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously you know, hunched over quite a lot, so your visibility's alright. I suppose you could say that you get a bit of tunnel vision because you're always looking up all the time. You can't look up and around so easily as you can on other style bikes. But yeah, it's alright. It's okay. Let me throw some figures at you first. This bike comes in at 191 kilograms. This is me sat on it, 30-inch inside leg measurement, flat foot in it, no problem at all. And we have a seat height of 810 millimeters. Handlebars here, there's a bit of weight on my wrists, as you'd expect, and foot up on the pegs there. That feels fine to me, I'm quite comfortable there. So who's this bike for? Well, I think a lot of people will be buying this as their first big bike, rightly so as well. I think it's a really good choice. If you're into the sports bike genre, then this will be for you. I mean, it's a beautiful bike to look at, there's no doubt about that. Would I go for the electronic clutch? Yes, I personally would. I think it has a lot to offer. I think it's actually nicer than having a manual myself. You still feel that you have that form of engagement with the bike and making it tick and making it work. Yet you have the, you know, you don't have the fatigue of clutching in all the time. So for me, that's ideal. And as I say, I actually enjoy it. I think it's really good. Originally, I did think that perhaps maybe it's kind of something or nothing. I mean, why bother? But they're not going to build this if they don't think they've got a market for it. So the electronic clutch has a big thumbs up from me. Well then guys, so the time has come for me to explain about the electronic clutch. It's going to be very quick and I want to keep it simple. There is more to it, I'm going to keep it basic, alright? So, when we get on, like so, let's say the bike is in neutral, okay? When I start the bike up, stand up, alright, it stays in neutral, okay? Now if I click, look, no hands, if I click into first gear, I'm in first gear now, so I'm going to roll back. And this is normally where you would need a clutch, of course, isn't it? So I'm going to roll back like so. And then all I'm going to do is give it a little bit of throttle and away we go. Simple as that. Now, as you can see, they have done an excellent job of feathering that clutch automatically. A really, really good job of that. But the questions you might have is what happens when I come to a stop? Well, I'm still in first gear now. So it literally, the way to look at it is that the clutch lever is there if you want it, but you don't actually need it anymore. You could just ride around all the time, well, like I am now, in automatic. So, how does that work when I change gear? Well, obviously, I think that's obvious actually. But I roll up into first gear, like so, into second, and into there we go, simple as that. Exactly the same as having a quick shifter really, but it does actually work in all scenarios and in all directions. So, let's say I'm coming up to the lights now, and I'm making to stop, and I'm in fourth gear now, okay? In fact, let me show you this. And what the dashboard does is it actually asks me to knock it down a few cogs. So you see that flashing, 4th gear, and it's flashing to go down to 1st. So again, no clutch, and I'm in 1st gear now and it stopped flashing. Now if I want to go into neutral, there you go. Alright, so let's say I roll up to the lights and I'm in 6th gear, or the wrong gear, I'm in too much of a higher gear. What happens? Now if I open the throttle, is it going to stall? The answer to that is no. I'm going to give it full beans now, okay? And what happens is the clutch will look after it and it will just kind of feather the clutch. There you go, that's full whack in 6th gear now. And I'm going to do 6th gear around here as well. And all that happens is the automatic clutch will look after it and it will just kind of feather the clutch until it does what it should be doing. I'm in 1st gear, I turn the bike off and I'm parked on a hill. How's that going to affect it? Well, it actually locks the clutch for you, right? So it's locked the clutch for me now, so I can park on an incline and I don't have to worry too much about the bike rolling away or whatever. It's got a bit of resistance there, it stays in 1st gear. So that's answered that as well. I think that's about it really. So when would you use the clutch? Well, you can just use the clutch as normal if you want to, all right? It's just there if you're somebody who prefers to use a clutch but have the option of using the electronic clutch, then it's there. Reality is, in my opinion, even for doing tight turns, doing a U-turn in 1st gear, I still don't find myself using the actual clutch itself. I still just use the automatic clutch. It just does it for you. It's just as good as what it is. There's no snatch to it unless the engine's code. You find that the RPMs are a bit higher, and so there's a bit more snatch to it when you select 1st gear. But give it couple minutes when it's warmed up. It's just easy. It's just really, really easy to do. Right, so what we'll do now, we'll just try some slow speed stuff and see what it's like there. Now again, going dead slow here, oops, nearly. Why do I do these tests? I don't know. But slow speed, I'm dragging the brake a bit here, and it's a typical sports bike. It handles super well. It's really, really easy. You can go really, really slow. No brakes there, look. Just holding upright, lovely. Very, very good handling. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's not a big bike. It's a piece of cake to push around. I've got a handle here, the hip pillion handle, which I can just move it back and forward with. It's not much of a lock on it. Again, that's just the characteristics of a sports bike, isn't it? Is that you don't get much of a lock. See, that's full lock there, look. And it's not doing a lot at all. So, and again, full lock. Back we go. It does actually feel quite a heavy bike when I'm sat here now, but we have to remember that it is a 4-cylinder engine. Side stand, easy to find and get down. And there you go. So that shows you a bit about the electronic clutch. If you've got any questions on that, ask away and I'll answer them. There is a little bit more to it, and there are settings for it in the menu, but we don't need to know that, because the odds are is that you're just going to use it as I did there. Right, so let's have a little look around the bike. So first of all, you don't have the clutch bell housing like you do on most bikes. So instantly, you look at this, expect to see the clutch housing there, and it's a different shape. It does stick out a little bit, but we're only talking no more than 1.5 inches, I would say. It does look a little bit bolt-on, I suppose you could say, but it doesn't look offensive. It still looks good, and it's something different at the end of the day. The colour scheme is fantastic on this one. You can buy a black one as well, which also looks really good, but we've got the blue, white and red, which looks fantastic. Let me just pick you up a minute and I'll show you some of the other points here. So we've got a double disc on the front there, which again is really nice. The brakes are fantastic, very, very good, as you'd expect on this type of bike. We have that little tiny exhaust down the bottom there, and that swing arm
on the back. All of it is styled so nicely. It just looks really good. A very, very good looking bike. And that's what we all want in bikes, isn't it? When you go out to the garage, you want a bike where you take a second look, and this is definitely one of those bikes. As I say, the seat is fantastic as well. It's very comfortable. Switchgear wise is all standard stuff. We have the mode selector there, pass button on the other side, torque control button there, horn, and on the other side it's just a simple setup with the start button and the hazards there. Yeah, I've got all the warning lights as normal. You can go into the menu and change lots and lots of different things. It's very in-depth there. I won't be going into that today because it will be there for, will be here for a long time. So yeah, it's a very nice looking dash overall, and very easy to see even on a sunny day like today. So let me chuck some specifications at you. So it produces 94 horsepower at 12,000 RPM. It's a 6-speed box with the electronic clutch or with the manual version. 17-inch wheels on both ends, and has a 15.4 litre tank. And it gives us 63 Newton meters of torque at 9,500 RPM. Right, so price-wise, we're looking at £8,600. If you want the quick shifter, then that adds another £260. So that brings it up to 8,860. However, if you buy the e-clutch version, then it comes to £8,729. So it's almost more cost effective to have the e-clutch version than what it is for the manual version with the quick shifter. So again, not only do I personally think that I would have the e-clutch version anyway, it makes a lot more sense to me, and it seems to be more enjoyable to ride, but also it's actually a lot cheaper than the standard model with the quick shifter. So e-clutch all the way for me. So overall, can I recommend the bike? Yes, I think anyone should try one. There's nothing that I don't actually like about the bike. It's not my type of bike. I normally ride adventure bikes, but overall it's a very nice bike. If sports bikes is the sort of thing that you like, then you've got the looks, you've got the power, and of course you've got the Honda reliability as well, which counts for a lot. That's worth pounds in itself. You know that every morning you can push the button. I always say this about Hondas, but you can push the button and you know it's going to start every single time for many years to come, and these engines just go on for tens of thousands of miles. So you pay your money, but you get a bike which you'll be able to keep for years, and that will do you a good service. And that's at the top of my buying list, is to have a bike that is reliable. And that is why I own a Honda myself. It's because I know that if I ever done a big trip, I own a Honda CBR650R. If I ever did a big trip, there's not really going to be many more bikes or brands that are going to be as reliable as my Honda CBR650R. No doubt about it. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to Honda UK for lending me the bike for a decent amount of time. As I say, it meant that I could get the shots on days like this. Brilliant bike, excellent bike. I can recommend it for sure. And that's it. I'll see you on the next video next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. I've got more coming from Honda. And in fact, I do have another video featuring this bike with somebody else who we're going to get together. He rode it as well. We're going to get together and have a chat and see what he thought of the Honda CBR650R. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.